Okay, so recording 3.5, and you're asked to write the equation of a line. So there are two ways you could do that. You could do this, or you could do this, which I'm guessing you learned both in Algebra 1. So this first one here is called slope-intercept form. The second one here is called point-slope form. Now, for slope-intercept form, M is a slope. And V is the Y-intercept. The Y-intercept means you're touching the Y-axis. And even tell you, M is the slope, V is the Y-intercept. For the other form, M is still the slope. X1, comma Y1 is a point on the line. And the key thing to understand about equations is that equations are relationships. Let me actually. So equation relationship between two or more variables. And so that's why we leave them in terms of X and Y, because you want to know how those two variables are related. There are real world problems you could use that use linear functions. For example, let's say you work a job and you get paid hourly. You can use a line to represent your pay, where X could be the time you work and Y could be the money you collect, right? If you work 10 hours and you make, say, $200, you could think of that as a linear function with a slope of 20, right? Because for every hour you work, you make $20. And you can actually make a linear function out of that. And so that's a relationship, right? You're relating the time you work to the money you collect, right? And you see that there's a proportional relationship, right? If you work 4 hours, you would make $80, right? If you work nothing, you get nothing. And if you plot those points, if you work nothing, you get nothing. You work 4 hours, you get $80. Work 10 hours, you get $200. And that'd be a line. And you could say Y equals 20x would be an equation you can use to figure out how much money you make, assuming you make $20 an hour. So that's what relationships ever are. There's just, equations are just relationships between multiple variables. But more specifically, we're talking about one that is linear, that follows a line, where M is a slope and B is a Y-intercept. And then two ways you could write slope-intercept form, Y equals MX plus B, or point-slope form, Y minus Y1 equals M times X minus X1. And you leave the equation in terms of Y and X, because again, you're relating X and Y. But M is something you substitute, B is something you substitute, and X1, Y1 is also something you substitute if you're using point-slope form. Now, I know it's a little long-winded, but I just want to make sure we had that discussion. So here you have to write the equation of line with a given slope and Y-intercept. So you can just say Y equals X plus 1. That's all. You don't have to put a 1 next to the X. If you want, you could. Go ahead. It's up to you. But if you don't, you assume the coefficient is 1. That's pretty easy. That's number 2. Multiple choice, which is an equation of line in the graph. Well, it's this Y-intercept is clearly 2 because that's where we're touching the Y-axis. Go ahead. You have a question.
I'm sorry. Can you go back?
Sure. Let me undo my work. Do you want to go further back than that?
No, that's it. Thank you.
Okay. And any questions about number 2?
No.
Okay, cool. All right. Could I move to the next one?
Oh, yes. Thank
Great,
you.
no problem. Okay, we'll do that. Great, thanks. So here, the y-intercept is 2. That's where you touch y-axis. The slope, up 1, up 2, up 3. So you're going up 3. And right 1, right 2, right 3. You're going right 3. So positive 3 over positive 3, that means the slope is 1. Or you could do 2 minus negative 1, right? Subtract these two, over 0 minus negative 3. You can do that too if you want. 3 over 3 is 1. Yeah, that works, right? So your slope is 1. Y-intercept is 2. So the answer is going to be B. Y equals x plus 2. Or you could plug in points. If you plug in 0 for x, you should get 2 for y. Plug in negative 3 for x, you should get negative 1 for y. You do that also. Work backwards. But yeah, just looking at the graph is pretty easy to tell. So for number 6, you're asked to write the equation on a line. The slope looks like go up 1, up 2, up 3, up 4. Right 1, right 2, right 2. So slope is up 4 over 2, so that's 2. Y-intercept is going to be negative 1, obviously. So there you go. Y equals 2x minus 1. Very nice. That's number 6. Question about number 6. Okay, let's look at number 8 and 10. Again, kind of sound like a broken record, right? You go up 1, up 2. 1, 2, 3. So your slope is 2/3. The y-intercept's pretty obvious, just look at it. It's crossing at 2. So here's your equation. If you want to calculate the slope by using this formula, that's fine. You're going to get the same thing. If you take the difference in the y's, 2 minus 0, take the difference in x's, 0 minus negative 3, you get 2/3 again. You do that also. And you're already told the y-intercept's right there. Question about number 8. So I'll give you guys a chance to copy that down. Okay. Let me leave it up for a little longer. Okie dokie. Oh, Vivian, go ahead. You have a question.
I was wondering, how do you get the y-intercept again?
You just look at where it touches the y-axis. So here's our line, right? I'll draw in red. And where does it touch the y-axis? At what number? Just 2. That's all. Because it's given to us, right? It's, remember, a y-intercept. Actually, let me make that clear. Maybe I didn't make that clear enough. Y-intercept is where the graph crosses the y-axis, because the intercept means across. Or you can think like this: it's the y-coordinate when x equals 0? Well, clearly x equals 0 right there, and the y-coordinate associated with that is 2. So that's another way of thinking about it as well. It's the y-coordinate of the line when x equals 0, because when we're on the y-axis, x is 0, right? Now for number 10, they don't give it to us. They don't. I mean, you can look at it. I think I know it's going to be 2, but what we could do is we calculate the slope first for number 10. That's going to be 5 minus -1, right? Subtract the y's. Over -1 minus 1, subtract the x's. So your slope is -3. Okay, slope is -3. Now, what you could do is you could use the point slope form. And you could use one of these coordinates. You could use either one, either -1,5 or 1, -1, totally up to you. So x minus -1 and y minus 5. So y minus 5 equals -3, x plus 1. So what I did is I substituted for x1, y1. I use one of the coordinates. And you can leave your answer like that. That's totally fine. That is a correct answer. But if you wanted to move things around or distribute, go ahead. Nothing wrong with that either. And so that would be my equation in a slope-intercept form. Definitely makes sense. I have a slope of -3, down 6, right 2. And then it looks like it is touching the y-axis at 2. So that should be fine. So, you know, you can use point slope form if you like. Or if you want to use slope-intercept form, again, find your slope. Again, you got to take a difference in x, difference of y's, or a difference in x's. And then, of course, if you wanted to go straight to this, you know, you have -3 for your slope. Plug that in for x and y. So you can also do it that way as well to solve for your, and I'm recording this, so you guys have a chance to watch again if you need to. How many more we got here so I pace myself appropriately? Okay. We do 12. So write an equation on line that passes through the point of the given slope. So again, more of the same stuff. Y equals mx plus b. Y equals 2x plus b. Plug in 0 for y and 3 for x. You can solve for b. B is -6. So your equation is y equals 2x minus 6. Or you could have done this point slope form. Totally up to whatever you're more comfortable with. I will say point slope form will be the preferred technique when you do pre-calculus or calculus. If you're a rising junior, you're going to be doing Algebra 2 next fall. Then you're probably doing pre-calculus as a senior. Or if you're a rising sophomore, you know, you'd be doing Algebra 2 next year as a sophomore, then pre-calculus as a junior, and probably calculus as a senior. Or if you're a rising senior, you're doing Algebra 2 next year, you might want to do some pre-calculus in college, or maybe before you go to college. And then maybe if you're going to major in business, maybe you got to do some calculus, right? But point slope form, it tends to be the more preferred technique because it's just easier to work with. You know, you don't have to do as much work, and you're much less likely to make an error. But I could have done, I could have done this. I could have done y minus 0 equals 3 times. Well, now I'm eating my own words. Hold on a sec. Equals 2. Oops, the slope is 2. x minus 3. And then y equals 2x minus 6. So you could have done it that way also, get the same result. So it's kind of like if you want to go to Lake Tahoe, you could take highway. If you want to go to Inclineville, just say North Shore. Just take Highway 80, gets you there. You could take Highway 50 and go around the lake. I don't remember the name of the highway around the lake. To take longer. You could do it. Actually, there are people who were trying to escape Lake Tahoe last year around this time, who were in South Shore and couldn't take Highway 50 down to Sacramento. They had to go around the lake through Highway 80 and back. They had to more, but they don't want to die, so they don't want to get burned alive. So, yeah. But sometimes some paths are easier than others, right? I think this red path is a little easier than the green path. Questions about number 12? Okay. So you got your notes there, hopefully. 14, write an equation that passes through the points parallel to the given line. Okay, if you're parallel to the given line, that means you got the same slope. So this is the given line. The slope here is going to be 2, because remember y equals mx plus b, right? You have to get good at extracting the information from the lines. So m is right there. So that's why the slope is 2. So now, and you're also given this point 1, 3. So if I do point slope form, I'm just going to get a habit of doing that because that's just, a technique that will be better as we move forward in math down the next few years. So my slope is 2, and my given point is 1, 3. So 1 for x1, 3 for y1. So x1 is 1, y1 is 3. And so y minus 3 equals 2x minus 2, y equals 2x plus 1. I'm guessing you guys probably did this in Algebra 1. I'm hoping you guys did last year. So that's number 14. So 6, I said I was going to do the evens. So I'll do 16 really quick. Questions about 14 though? Okay, we'll keep moving. I'll leave this up projected. So let's look at 16. Slope here is -1. And this is automatically a y-intercept. Because x equals 0. So immediately I could just say this, y equals -x plus 1. Sometimes you don't have to do any, you don't have to, if you want to do the same work, you could, that I did for 14, you could. It's not necessary because I'm going to get the same thing, and I'm already given the y-intercept. But if you wanted to, yeah. But you do have to be able to extract the slope very quickly. So see there's a negative in front of here, so that's why my slope is -1. And remember, parallel, they're going to have the same slope. Questions about 16? Okay. Last one for you guys to do some practice. 18. Now, if you want to be perpendicular, you need a negative reciprocal slope. So here, m is -1/3. Because remember, y equals mx plus b, right? Well, it's perpendicular though. That's similar for perpendicular. So the negative reciprocal of -1/3 is +3/1. You got to change the sign So you got to go with negative to positive, and then flip. Or it's like you're multiple. It's like you're incorporating an extra negative here, and you're flipping these guys. So that's what we get 3/1. Let me erase this part because I don't think we really need it. And so then if I use point slope form, y minus y1 equals m times x minus x1. So 3, x minus 3, y minus negative 2. And there's your equation. It would contain the point 3, negative 2 and be perpendicular to the given line. So again, what you do is you have to extract the slope from the given line, but because it's perpendicular, you got to do negative reciprocal, not the same slope. That was for parallel. And then you're given a point, so you can plug in for x1 and y1 in the point slope formula and work it out and isolate y. So that's how I prefer you guys go about doing this, is do it in this fashion. Questions about 18 before you try 17? Okay. So I hear my daughter calling me. They just got back from the store if I need help. Hold on, sweetie. Sorry. Okay, that's in the video too. Anyway, so yeah, so I'll give you guys about 15 minutes, I'd say. Do the odds. There are 9 odd problems. So this should go by pretty quickly, I'd assume. And I'll stop this video. So go and do the odds.